Welcome to the Family Office, planning for the people who matter most.
And I want to make this last point and get your thoughts about this and see how you're thinking. So with everything going on right now, to tie this back full circle back to the war, right now, Trump has a 41% approval rating. And since the start of the war, that hasn't really shifted that much. Like, it hasn't like taken a nosedive or anything like that. Here's my hypothesis. I want to get your thoughts about it. Right now, there are 45 Democratic seats in the Senate, 2 independent, so that's 47. You need 67 seats to have 2/3 vote for Trump to be impeached. Now, he's already been impeached twice. If the Democrats take over or Republicans start to flip, I believe that the Democrats will move for him to be impeached again. Here's why. I believe with the war that's been waged and also the Epstein files that have been suppressed, if any of that stuff comes out and there's any legitimate proof, even if right now, today, he were to get impeached, it wouldn't mean anything because his approval rating's high. So here's the central hypothesis that I have. If you go back in history and you look at Nixon, once his approval rating got to below 25%, the Republicans and the Democrats turned on him because he was so unpopular that connecting to him meant political suicide for them.
Right.
So if 45 plus 2 is 47, if all there needs to be is 20 Republicans to flip, if this war continues to go, I believe more and more people are going to disapprove of Trump, and it'll become less politically feasible for the Republicans to continue to align with him. Do you believe that there is a chance, if this war keeps going on, for him to have the possibility to be impeached and actually be kicked out of office?
No, because I think if you impeach him, I think if you do that route again, he's going to get 100% approval rating.
You think so? Okay, please explain.
I think,
be succinct. I don't understand how you think that, but help me understand.
Because even when Trump was being politically assassinated, assassination, political assassination, life almost being threatened. I mean, This guy, let's take the name off the table. Has anyone been investigated, scrutinized, probed, fined, trials more than him? No.
No. Has any president been more of the ideal dictator?
Come on,
dude.
Dictator. Come on.
Okay, when I say dictator. Okay, listen. I'm not saying that Trump is a dictator. That's not what I'm saying. Let me say it this way. I want to make sure that I'm being very clear with my words. He has used his presidential powers to try to expand them to the greatest extent that he possibly can. But I would say he's been more aggressive with it. So here's my concern. Here's my concern. And then I want to hear what you have to say. My concern is that if I'm a Republican in the Senate and because the only way that he will be impeached is not based on how the Senate views him, it's how the population views him. And what I'm saying is that if gas prices keep going up and people's pocketbooks continue to get impacted, his approval rating is going to go down. Presidents get impeached for 2 reasons. They get impeached or they get unelected because of a failing economy, and they get unelected because of some type of scandal. Right.
Yes.
And so if the economy keeps going down and wars make that happen, I don't see any other outcome because I don't know if he can get out.
Yeah, but the numbers look great. Volatility index looks great. The Vanguard's up. The market's up.
Right now,
everything is up.
I'm saying
everything is up.
So you think if this war continues to go on, Chris, that's going to stay that way?
I don't think it's going to go up. I don't. Well, here's the thing. The market's going to go up regardless, even if we stay in war, because wars create markets. Wars create markets. So I think the war, here's the thing. And I don't lose my point. on this.
We're gonna mark this, man, because we're going to mark this. We're gonna keep receipts on this one. Keep going.
You said impeach, right?
Yes.
What do Americans hate? You said scandals, all that stuff. Bill Clinton,
bro,
was having. No. Oh, hold on.
But he was popular.
I understand that, but look, Bill Clinton had the similar approval rating as Trump right now. So Bill Clinton. We all want to talk about. We always want to bring, but we always want. But I'm going to wrap it up for you. We always want to make this argument against Trump, like he's this evil person, so he deserved to be. That's what we were just talking about.
That wasn't
he's the
my
type
point.
Of person that,
no.
Okay, but he was impeached. Okay, but then let me just address the impeachment thing then. Okay. He is not the type of. Every president tries to expand their power. And I don't think Trump tries to expand his power outside of the rules that he has, the terms that he can operate within, right? Look, Trump is popular. He's going to remain popular, and here's why. He's going to exit ramp this war. I think he's going to do it. Prices are going to continue to go down. The numbers in the economy look good. People are spending money. And again, Michael Burry came out really bullish on his prediction in November, October, September. Nothing happened. NVIDIA just released 2 rounds of record-breaking earnings now since that Michael Burry prediction. 2. The Green Machine, still. 2. Still going strong. Okay, cool. I'm not in the world of financial services that I like to be, I'm on the conservative side, Len, you know that. But the market's still growing. The economy's still growing. Walmart's still packed. Americans are still making money. The fraud is being found out. The streets are getting cleaned up. People feel more safe. America is back, dude. And the reason why we don't feel that way, Len, is because the rest of the world is not. The rest of the world is still crying about shit. Still.
You are in a
world. The war gets the war. I don't think so.
Yes,
I don't think so. I don't thinking it.
Only time will tell. So
here's why I'm not thinking it. Here's why I'm not thinking it. Okay. Because the United States has been locked up and suppressed since Trump got into office the first time. Because he really couldn't even get anything accomplished his first term. Biden comes in and locks it down. COVID comes in and locks it down. The United States finally has only been breathing for 1 year. The United States hasn't been able to breathe since Obama got out of office. It's been like this. It's had a proverbial leg on its neck because Trump was handcuffed. And if Trump gets impeached, Len, that's 70% approval rating. 70% approval rating, because every American is going to relate to him and go, dude, what did he do?
No, brother.
And gets back to my point of this. You're going to kick Trump out of office for what? Clinton did far worse. Biden did far worse. And so did Obama.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
What did Trump do that's worse than any of those guys?
Let me explain.
What a disgrace to... Wait, hold on, Len. You say this a lot. You say, what a disgrace to the office of the president.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, dude? Bill Clinton is getting interviewed. Bill Clinton is in deposition for his Epstein ties, and he's flirting with Macy, the senator, Congresswoman Macy, as he's doing it. What a sicko, dude. He disgraced the office of the president by banging Monica Lewinsky on the freaking Resolute desk. Sorry, viewers, that's not the word to say.
Okay.
But you want to talk about shaming the office of the president?
Okay. So
he broke the rule of marriage. He was married to Hillary Clinton and he had extramarital affairs and then lied about it in the Oval Office on the Resolute desk and lied about it. Trump didn't do that.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Biden had crack cocaine in the White House. We were doing white powder in the White House during the Biden administration.
I never.
So you want to talk about the? What do you mean they found the drugs? They found the cocaine.
I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying I never heard that. So okay.
Yeah,
so
it happened
let's look at a couple
2 or 3
things.
years ago.
Okay, let's look at a couple of things. Go ahead, okay, look. You got to understand this, Chris. Okay.
I'm listening, Len, and we're almost out of time.
Yes, this will be in the last point, and we'll wrap up, and you can feel like you can react to it any way you want. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
The only thing that impeachment does is you have to have 2/3 of the vote from the Senate. So you need 67 or more votes in order for them to convict to be able to get the president out of the office. So when Trump was impeached twice, there was not a majority vote to get him out of office, right? From the Senate. Now, the reason why that is, Chris, is because Trump was popular. The same reason why Clinton was able to stay in office, because you couldn't get a supermajority of the votes. With Nixon, on the other hand, he only had a 24% approval rating. So all of the Republicans that were in office were saying, I'm not hitching my wagon to this dude. Mm-hmm. He's not popular. You know, the Watergate scandal and the cover up and all, you know, the decoupling of the dollar and like all of these things that were connected to his name. They didn't want to be connected with that. If Trump were impeached today, nothing would happen. So it would just be his third impeachment. Who cares? Here's the crux of it, Chris. What I'm saying is that the difference this time is that war in World War I and World War II was different because it ushered in manufacturing. This war, this time with Iran, is different because we're not going to manufacture our way out of it because we're in a completely different era. And so people in America are affected emotionally based on what's going on economically. So if oil prices go up, transportation goes up, which means food prices go up and gas prices go up. If that continues to happen and we realize that Trump ran on no more wars, but he voluntarily went to war.
Every American needs to watch this clip.
Our interest, I think, very much is in not going to war with Iran.
They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
A war with Iran would make the war in Iraq look like a cakewalk.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
I've been a recovering neocon for 6 years now. Like the foolishness with which we ricocheted around the world, intervening, think it was in our best interest, when really we just overturned the table and created something worse.
You're not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. That I can tell you.
A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them.
I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. We don't need the wars, foreign lands, countries you've never heard of, countries that don't even want us there.
President Trump, as he says all the time, and as a lot of people recognize, is a president of peace. We want to have good relationships with everybody.
I am the candidate of peace. I am peace.
President Trump is the peace president.
We've spent $8 trillion in the Middle East, and we're not fixing our roads in this country. How stupid is it?
We've got to stop Donald Trump from starting a war with Iran.
We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives.
People, I believe, over time, right now, it's not hitting us. Over time, people are going to say Trump led us to war, and we disapprove of that fact. And when that disapproval goes down, the Republicans that are outside of his, hardcore MAGA constituency will flip. I have a list of 20 people. If things go bad, will likely turn on him. I think there's 5 that are ready to flip on him right now. So is it likely? Probably not. But if this war continues to go on and he becomes increasingly more unpopular, it's not politically expedient for the constituencies in those states to stay connected to him. So if he stays popular, this is a moot conversation. There's no purpose even having it. I'm saying that I believe, as I'm saying, the war is going to go on longer. You think he's going to exit. So let's mark this on March 23rd, 2026. We're going to see over time, does this war continue to go on? Because whoever thought that Ukraine and Russia would be fighting for 4 years? Not in a million years. I thought it was going to be 2 weeks, 2 months max. 4 years later, we're not going to be able to get out of this war, Chris. I hope.
But this is not Russia and Ukraine. This is not Russia and Ukraine.
I agree. And Iran is not Iraq or Venezuela either. And it's very different.
Here's
set
the
of
difference.
Circumstances.
Here's
I hope
the
you're
difference.
right, Chris. I really do.
Here's the difference. Ukraine and Russia are now at war just to get money. They know it. They're not there to take each other out. They're there just to make money. There's nothing.
Okay, that's
for
a
us
fair
to make
argument.
money. There's nothing
Russia
with Iran
gets
for us.
money based on this war too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're going to be doing a lot.
So here in reality here, and you already saw that Russia wants to open trade with the United States again, which pretty much cripples China because now they lost that
and Ukraine.
So
yeah,
and Ukraine. So again, whether or not I don't think the war is going to continue because I think it's going to.
How long do you think it's going to last? Tell me your prediction.
I don't think it's going to last more than 90 days. And we're what?
Really?
3 weeks in?
90 days more or 90 days total? Because let's just say March 1st it started because it was February 28th.
I think we got another 60 to 90 days until it's done, until it de-escalates.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It might. I think, and when it does, it's going to be like this, like that.
Really?
It's going to be like this.
Okay.
And what you'll see Trump masterfully play out what he's playing out because I still think it's part of his plan. And even if the war did go on, the conflict, whatever it is, he still wouldn't go below 30%. He still wouldn't go below 30%. And if anyone dares to go against him and impeach him right now, even if, let's say, fast forward, the war did go on, they're not. It's going to be a reverse effect for him. It's going to be a reverse, meaning it's going to help him, just like it did all the other times. The problem with the office of the presidency is that you get too much exposure. Right? Because what we really ought to be doing is looking at Congress people and senators that you're talking about trying to impeach him. The reason why they would impeach him is because they don't want attention on them. Because since AOC has gotten elected, her district is worse. It's worse. Since Karen Bass has been elected a mayor, LA is worse. Since California elected Gavin Newsom, it's worse. You know what's crazy though? Since Texas nominated and voted in Abbott, it's better. Since Florida voted in DeSantis, it's better. Since Virginia, or what was it, West Virginia, or whoever, voted in Youngkin, Pennsylvania voted in Youngkin, who was Youngkin? Youngkin is another Republican governor in one of those states over there. Better. State's better. Look, as soon as Hochul leaves New York, the state will be better. What's sad about New York is most of the state is Republican or right-leaning. It's just Manhattan. It's just New York City, right?
It's the five.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the sad part. When you consistently look at the cheapest states, most economically powerful states, surpluses, they're all Republican governors. When you and I know that we love to spin the data.
That's correlation, but not causation.
Hold on.
But go ahead.
Hold on. We love to spin the data. Oh, red states have these big problems in democratically run big cities. And that's where we always see it. When you look at all the major metro cities, they're all broke and they're all a disaster, except for the ones that are run by conservative people that are what? Center, right, fiscally responsible. But the problem is you have these people that think that they can just keep spending the people's money. And that's the reality. See, if I was in California, I'd be pissed more than in the rest of the country. Actually, the whole country should be pissed because federal tax dollars go to California for all the bullshit happening there. So everyone's paying for this. So we should be mad at other politicians and we should be impeaching other politicians, not Trump. Trump's done far less, Len, than all the, like, I don't know why people don't have the fervor against Trump like they do against Gavin Newsom. This guy's a criminal. Gavin Newsom's a criminal. You know that, right? So you know Gavin Newsom's a criminal. You know he's a criminal, right?
Okay, so here I think here's where we differ in our perspectives, because
what has Trump done that's so bad that Gavin Newsom hasn't done that's not worse?
Okay,
because he might be running as the next president.
That's a perfect segue into my analysis between
we're just going to go long
worldview
today
and my worldview. Okay, let's wrap up. To me, war and when war leads to people dying is different than fraud and people leading to being
okay.
Both are bad, and both are impeachable. But I think in terms of their severity, you can't compare the two. That's my worldview, and so I don't know, because like I'm not here to suggest that Gavin Newsom is a good governor and that California is fiscally irresponsible. I'm not, you've never heard me saying that California is a bastion of fiscal.
I agree. I just want to know, where's the outrage for everyone that doesn't like all the things that, and I get you. Look,
the reason why there's so much outrage against Trump is, like, for example, when the previous FBI director just passed away. He was a war veteran, a war hero.
Mueller.
And he said he's dead, and I'm glad. Like, who does that? Like,
I agree with his personal attacks. I agree with his personal attacks on Mueller. I do.
Yeah,
look, I don't agree with gossiping about people, and I don't like talking to people, and I don't agree about saying no ill of dead men or of any man. But Robert Mueller, he had it coming from whatever Trump wants to say about it, because Robert Mueller put the whole Trump family through hell. He knew it was wrong. Look, Robert Mueller had Robert Mueller.
I'm just answering your question. Your question was, why does Trump attract all of this ire? It's
but Gavin Newsom does the same stuff.
But it's not the same, dude. You can't compare a governor and a president. That's what I'm saying.
But he wants to be a president.
If he becomes president, he'll catch it too.
Tell me this, Len. You didn't have a problem. See, this is the reason why so many people don't like Trump, because Trump acts the way all these other politicians and leaders act in secrecy. He just does it in public. And that's why I respect it, because Len, you don't have a problem with a governor of the largest state in the country that's robbing the whole country.
Those are false equivalences, Chris. I don't disagree with that.
You don't have a problem with him getting it potentially. This is why it's so dangerous, though, because no one gives him ire. He's just allowed to go do what he wants to do.
He's a governor. That's different.
Right, but here's the thing, though. He's a governor, a duly elected governor of the largest economy in the country, talking bad about the country and the United States, and then furthermore sitting in a group of African American men and women and saying, "I'm dumb and just like you, and I can't read just like you."
No,
where the hell's the ire for that?
Where's
the ire for that, though, Len? Where's the ire for that? Why is he not draw ire for that?
You are making. I'm not disagreeing.
He should be impeached for that. He should be impeached for that.
I'm not disagreeing with points in your argument. What I'm saying is that you're presenting the argument as though they're equivalent. And I'm saying those are false equivalent arguments. Trump is a president. Declaring war and people dying is different than a governor allowing fraud and abuse to happen, where he should make better decisions. And so I disagree with the actions of both. And what I'm saying to you, Chris, is just like with Arnold Schwarzenegger. People loved Arnold Schwarzenegger. When he became a governor, people didn't like him as much. Why? Because politicians are going to get more scrutinies. Understandably. So what I'm saying is that when the office of the president is there on public display, and every single thing they say and do and don't say and don't do is under a microscope, they're going to catch much more scrutiny. And so what I'm saying is that what Trump does is the things that he says and does. I understand why you say, you respect because, he says what people think and things like that. But all I'm saying is that You'll never hear me say that every decision he makes is bad. Everything he does is bad. I'm not a never Trumper. I'm not that guy. What I am saying though, is that the things he says and things he does often is so reprehensible for the office of the president. There should be a different level of decorum and a different level of what you say and what you do. You gotta be more presidential. And again, I know that your worldview is, look, I'd rather have somebody say things that are a bit offensive. If it moves the country in the right direction, so be it. And I just think there can be a little bit of both. And so we could continue going back and forth.
And I agree with you on that. I agree with you solely on that. But again, Obama did stuff too. He waged war. He bombed and killed people. They all did. But the problem is that we don't hold all of these guys past to the coals as much as we do Trump.
Because he brings it on himself. If Trump were more,
but Trump, I don't think so. If Trump was more here's the thing: if Trump was more politically correct, I don't want that. I, as a voter, don't want that. You know why? Because being politically correct, Len, has gotten us in a lot of trouble. Yeah, being politically correct has gotten us a lot of trouble. I think I agree Trump, with that. I do say it is look, I don't want to agree with the thing with Iran. Trump needs to be a little bit more respectful. Because I am that way. I don't want to look. You shouldn't like. The other day, he has Japan in there, and he said someone asked him about not being secretive, and he goes, "Japan knows more about secrets than anything." I thought it was hilarious. Now, it isn't hilarious, but it is hilarious. But here's the thing. But here, hold on. But that same lady, she was the PM, right? She's the prime minister. Mm-hmm. Did you see how hilariously she laughed when she was walking down the hallway and she seen the picture of Biden's portrait as president, the auto pen? She freaking busted up laughing because everyone knows it's the truth. Just like everyone in the room went, ooh, it's a little below the belt when everybody knows it's the truth. Everyone knows it's the truth. Just like everyone knows it's the truth. Here's the biggest, scariest thing though. The people that, and I'm not saying this is you, Len, by any stretch, because I know you're not there. This is not you. But the vast majority of the people that rake, I'm not even going to say it, never mind. It is what it is. We all know it was the truth. It shouldn't have been said. I don't want to go down that hole with the Holocaust and all this other stuff and just, it'll start a whole new ball of wax. What I can say, Len, this has been a very engaging conversation. I'm excited. This is awesome. So again, Len, I'll throw it over to you to close out, but very good dialogue today. I'm very excited because I think, again, this is exactly what you should have discourse and conversation. Because again, it's over with now. The emotion's gone from me. I'm going to go, we're going to go brainstorm about something. Absolutely, it's over. Man. But this is a conversation you should be having. So I encourage everybody, before I throw it to Len to close this out, please, do yourself a favor and do your family self a favor and go have conversations about politics, money, and religion and business at your dinner table tonight. Because all the people that live the lives, and maybe you don't want to live that life and you don't care about materialistic things, you just want sovereignty, you want personal sovereignty, you need to have those conversations with yourself and your kids. Because if you don't, the people that do have those conversations will either take whatever's left on the table that you didn't get, or they'll steal it from you.
I agree. And the only thing that I would add to that is to have those conversations also with people in whom you disagree. Because what it does is when you're having that conversation, it forces you to do two things. It forces you to sharpen your argument so you can articulate your point. And it also, if you are engaging with somebody that you care about, you will listen diligently because you're not judging what they're saying. You're not judging them. You're only judging the merits of their argument. And so no matter how much you see Chris and I go back and forth as you're watching this, Chris will never make judgments about me as a person based on my argument. I'll never make judgments of him as a person based on his arguments. I judge his argument. He judges my argument, and we can agree to disagree. We'll agree on some points and we'll disagree on others, and we'll call it the day. And when he's in my town, we're going to have lunch. And when I'm in his town, we're going to have lunch, and we're going to hang out.
Yep.
And so we need to do more of that, and we need to engage in these types of important conversations that we hold dear to ourselves so we can learn more and understand better. And so with that being said, I hope that all of you have a fantastic rest of your day. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Until next time, take care.
Conversation has given you clarity on your next steps. Please share this episode with someone who's walking the same path. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. And remember, planning ahead isn't just prudent, it's an act of care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Family Office.